Every time his wife went to the bathroom to shower, the sleeping husband would instantly open his eyes. Then he'd quietly get up and search through her handbag. The first few times, he found nothing suspicious, but this time, he discovered a box of hotel matches from a hotel he had never been to before. Not only that, he also noticed his wife had recently been spending hours whispering on the phone with strangers. But strangely enough, the second he walked near her, she would immediately hang up, making him suspect she was cheating on him. The man's name was Jack. Handsome, wealthy, and a well-known architect in the city. He was the kind of guy who turned heads the moment he put on a suit. The only thing missing in his life was love. Not long ago, he had just gotten out of a failed marriage and had finally become single again. His business partner had tried introducing him to other women more than once, but Jack rejected every one of them because he wanted to wait for the right person. And it seemed fate heard those words, because not long after, it arranged a deadly encounter for him. One day, Jack was invited to an art exhibition. The event itself was already boring enough, but even worse was this non-stop talking, curly-haired woman who kept clinging to him. Everything she talked about was painfully uninteresting, and she honestly didn't seem very bright. Jack was already looking for an excuse to leave when the moment he turned around, his wine glass collided with a woman in a red dress. And just like that, the female lead, Lena, made her stunning entrance. If there was one word to describe Lena, it would be breathtaking. She had flawless features, a gorgeous figure, and an icy elegance. After Jack bumped into her, she looked annoyed, scolded him a few times, and walked away. What Jack never realized was that this accidental collision had been carefully planned by Lena from the very beginning. From the moment she saw him, she had already chosen him as her prey. And just like that, the gears of fate began turning. Except this fate had clearly been wound up by someone in advance. 1 week later, Jack unexpectedly ran into Lena again at a grocery store, but this time, she was no longer the cold, untouchable woman from the art show. Instead, she apologized, saying she had been in a terrible mood that night and hoped he wouldn't take it personally. Hopelessly love-struck, Jack never questioned any of it. He believed their meetings were destiny, never realizing that this so-called fate was actually a trap set by a hunter. Lena's methods were practically textbook manipulation. During dinner, she slowly opened up about her tragic childhood. According to her, her mother constantly beat and abused her, while her alcoholic father caused trouble everywhere he went. As an adult, she left home and fought her way through the corporate world. After years of hard work, she finally became a company vice president, only to get fired for refusing the CEO's sexual advances. What made it even worse was that the man spread rumors about her throughout the industry afterward, making it nearly impossible for her to find another job. Lena's heartbreaking story instantly awakened Jack's protective instincts, and just like that, he completely fell for her. That night, neither of them got any sleep. The neighbors even filed 3 separate noise complaints. Not long after, Jack and Lena got married. And if you pay close attention to this wedding, you'll notice a lot of strange details. On Jack's side, all of his friends and family showed up. Everyone clearly cared deeply about him. But on Lena's side, only one man and one woman attended the ceremony. Even her parents were absent. Lena explained that she had a terrible relationship with her family, which perfectly matched the tragic backstory she told Jack earlier, so he didn't think much of it at the time. At first, married life felt sweet and perfect. Lena gave birth to a daughter, and Jack became completely immersed in the joy of being a father, never once suspecting Lena's real motive for getting close to him. But cracks in a relationship always start from the smallest details. On their wedding anniversary, while Jack and Lena were having dinner at a restaurant, another woman suddenly walked over and warmly greeted Lena by the name Cece. Lena's reaction was subtle but strange. She froze for a split second, quickly regained composure, and calmly claimed the woman had mistaken her for someone else. After the woman left, Lena hurriedly explained to Jack that she probably just looked similar to this Cece person, and apparently this wasn't the first time it had happened. Although Jack chose to believe her, deep down his instincts had already started warning him. The second suspicious incident happened even sooner. While meeting with a client one day, Jack casually discovered the client had attended the same university as Lena and even graduated in the same class year. Jack casually asked if the client knew his wife, Lena. The client said no, which sounded reasonable enough since large universities have thousands of students. But then the client mentioned something everyone from that graduating class should remember. Apparently, their student council president had suddenly died of a heart attack during graduation. It was a huge event that the entire school knew about. After hearing this, Jack returned home and casually brought up the student council president's death in front of Lena. But Lena looked completely confused, as if she had never heard about it before. And that was strange. Something that major would have been impossible for any graduate from that university to forget. Jack immediately felt a chill in his chest. His wife's identity clearly wasn't what it seemed. From that day on, he quietly started investigating her, and the deeper he dug, the worse things became. He discovered a hotel matchbox hidden inside Lena's purse, from a hotel neither of them had ever visited together. At that point, there were simply too many coincidences for them to still be coincidences, so Jack decided decided to uncover the truth completely. After breakfast one morning, he pretended to leave on a business trip but secretly drove to the small town where Lena claimed she grew up. He carried her photo around town, asking people if they recognized her, but nobody did. Finally, one scruffy-looking man recognized her, but according to him, her name wasn't Lena at all. It was Cece, and he claimed he used to date her. The man told Jack he had once been the richest person in town, and the reason his life was now ruined was entirely because of Cece. If you're smart, leave her before it's too late. After saying that, the man gave Jack the address of Cece's parents. Jack rushed there immediately and met an elderly couple who confirmed they really were Lena's parents. But they were nothing like the abusive monsters Lena had described. In fact, they treated Jack warmly and kindly. The reason they had never contacted him before was because Lena once wrote them a letter claiming Jack worked for the CIA and couldn't safely interact with strangers. At that moment, part of the mystery was finally solved. When Lena suddenly saw her parents standing there with Jack, she finally dropped the act and tearfully hugged them.
The CIA.
Faced with Jack's questioning, Lena explained that she had lied because she came from a poor background while Jack was rich, successful, and handsome. She feared he'd reject her if he knew the truth.
Who are you?
I'm your wife.
And unsurprisingly, hopeless romantic Jack forgave her once again. Maybe it was Lena's beauty, maybe it was because of their daughter. Whatever the reason, Jack didn't want to destroy the family he had worked so hard to build over what seemed like small lies. Besides, none of Lena's lies had actually harmed him directly. So after her parents left, life simply moved on. Not long after, Lena gave birth to a second child. Everything seemed to return to normal, but somehow it still felt wrong. Then one day during a family gathering, a casual comment from a close friend suddenly made Jack uneasy again.
Well, Bernardo?
Well, it doesn't look like him to me.
The speaker meant nothing by it, but to Jack, the words dug into his mind like a thorn. After that, more suspicious details started piling up. Lena constantly laughed and chatted with someone on the phone, but every time Jack came near her, she would immediately make up an excuse and hang up. She claimed she spent every Wednesday shopping with her girlfriends. But was that really the truth? The next Wednesday, Jack decided to test her. Every 10 minutes, he had his assistant call Lena's phone, but every single time, the call failed to connect. Another Wednesday came, and Lena left the house again. When she returned that night, Jack noticed bruises on her legs. Lena claimed she accidentally bumped into something, but Jack couldn't shake the feeling that the marks looked more like fingerprints than bruises from an accident. When he kept questioning her, Lena finally exploded. She began ranting about married life, saying she spent every day taking care of the children and cooking meals. The only freedom she had was shopping with friends every Wednesday, and if Jack couldn't even trust her that much, then maybe they should just get divorced. Once again, Jack backed down, not because he was stupid, but because he was terrified of losing the family he had finally managed to build. And Lena clearly understood this weakness perfectly. Every single time, she escaped suspicion using the exact same emotional manipulation. Not knowing what else to do, Jack turned to his lawyer friend for comfort and advice. But the final straw came in the form of a credit card statement. According to the bill, Lena visited the same hotel every Wednesday. Jack stormed home with the statement in hand. This time, he stopped beating around the bush, and unexpectedly, Lena confessed everything. She admitted she wasn't shopping with friends every Wednesday. She had been meeting another man. The bruises on her body had been left by him. Even worse, the man was supposedly one of Jack's closest friends. Jack completely snapped. He slapped Lena across the face and stormed out of the house. After calming down slightly, he started thinking about who the mystery man could be. He only had two close friends. One was his lawyer, George, and the other was his business partner, Nick. George was honest and dependable, while Nick was a notorious womanizer who happened to play golf every Wednesday. The more Jack thought about it, the angrier he became. He rushed back home, determined to ask Lena directly whether the man was Nick. But the moment he opened the front door, the scene inside completely stunned him. The house was a disaster. A police officer stood in the living room alongside a man claiming to be Lena's psychiatrist. Before Jack could even understand what was happening, Lena made her move. Covering fake bruises on her body, she accused Jack of being violently abusive and claimed she suffered from severe mental illness. At that moment, Jack finally realized the horrifying truth. This had all been a carefully planned trap from the beginning. Every incident had been part of the setup, and every compromise he made only dug the hole deeper beneath himself. Just like that, Jack was sent to a psychiatric hospital. During the hearing, he desperately explained to the judge that he had never abused Lena, and that she was the one cheating on him. He even suggested questioning Nick. After all, Nick played golf every Wednesday, which perfectly matched the timing of Lena's weekly outings. But Nick provided a completely different explanation. He admitted he did play golf every Wednesday, but claimed he had maintained that routine for over 10 years. years. Then he even produced signed statements from golfing buddies to prove his innocence. Clearly, Nick wasn't involved at all. Soon after, a woman named Debbie testified in court, claiming she was Lena's friend and that they regularly went shopping together every Wednesday. At the same time, the hotel also confirmed that Jack's credit card had been fraudulently used. The judge now looked at Jack like he was completely insane, and Jack finally understood he wasn't dealing with some amateur scam artist. He was up against a highly organized criminal group that planned every move in advance. Just when Jack had completely lost hope, an even bigger twist appeared. After spending some time in the psychiatric hospital, a female detective secretly approached him and revealed she had been investigating Lena for years. According to the detective, Lena wasn't some innocent Cinderella story at all. She was a professional con artist. Jack was actually her third husband. One of her previous husbands had died in an accident, while another ended up completely bankrupt. That ruined man Jack met earlier was one of her former victims, and Lena had taken control of all their assets. Even more shocking, the detective believed the person helping Lena frame Jack was actually his lawyer friend George. Not long ago, George had suddenly purchased a luxury villa in New Zealand, something far beyond what he should have been able to afford. Jack replayed everything in his mind and finally saw the full picture. Every time he argued with Lena, he would vent to George, and George always encouraged him to trust his wife. While pretending to comfort Jack, George secretly passed all the information along to Lena. The two of them had been waiting for the perfect opportunity to destroy Jack completely, and now they had succeeded. Jack had been locked away in a psychiatric hospital. Lena inherited his fortune, and George got his share of the money before moving to New Zealand and buying his dream home. But after learning the truth, Jack refused to give up. He asked the detective to call Lena and tell her Jack's condition was getting worse and that she should come visit him sometime. Lena didn't suspect a thing and arrived at the hospital the very next day. When the two were finally alone together, one of Jack's fellow patients conveniently distracted the guards, and at that moment, the movie reached its most satisfying scene. Lena thought she still had complete control over Jack, but she forgot one very important thing. Inside a psychiatric hospital, there are no witnesses.
Crazy people aren't legally responsible. Not guilty by reason of insanity. In a year, I'll be sane again.